Hey, what's up everybody? Panick23 here, coming at you with a new video featuring Gfisk, Pelipper, and Tropius in Great League GBL. Now, this team is the one that took me to Legend last season. I've had a ton of success with it. Towards the end of last season, it started to get hard countered a little bit because it was being so popularized. And I decided to bring it back after a little bit of change in the meta with some charm leads after the Alolan Ninetales, Sableye, and Shadow Machamp team that I've been using. So I decided to go back to this line. It's a really good ABB line. ABB meaning that Gfisk counters the counters of Pelipper and Tropius. So the play is to pretty much always switch out of the lead into the Pelipper, beat whatever switches in with the Gfisk, and then sweep with Razor Leaf Tropius in the back. Now I hope you enjoy these battles. Let's go ahead and get into the games. Go ahead and get started. Facing off against my opponent here. Catch the Alolan Ninetales in the lead now. The previous night I went 18-7 with this line, so I'm going after Midnight right after it again. In comes the Vigoroth, and I swap into Tropius with Razor Leaf. Now, there's no normal type that can actually take Tropius, and typically when they swap in, you can always take a second to see what they're bringing in. Now, when I saw normal, I was thinking Munchlax, I was not thinking Vigoroth, so I'm going to be putting some pressure with this Tropius. I don't know if the lead is Charm or Powder Snow. I'm gonna guess it's Charm since they swapped out of it. So I'm going to let myself get pretty low before trying to KO this Vigoroth. So the Alolan Ninetales does not have any energy coming into the Gfisk matchup. So I end up KOing the Vigoroth here. And the Alolan Ninetales is gonna come back in. And we're gonna see if it's Charm or Powder Snow, and we do see that it's Charm. So I might get to the Leaf Blade. I do right before the Charm registers. This will put on a bunch of pressure to the Alolan Ninetales, and we're gonna see what's in the back. They decide not to shield because they know it's pretty useless with the Gfisk, and I'm ready to swap, and I see it's another normal type, and this time it's Diggersby, and which has absolutely no play against Pelipper with Fire Punch and Earthquake. Both of those moves going to be resisted, so unfortunately for my opponent, absolutely no play there. And as you can see, this team is very dominating. We'll go ahead and skip to the next battle. We've got Gfisk into Marowak, another positive lead for us. Now this is pretty close if the opponent decides to shield the Earthquake, so I normally like to build up to the Earthquake and go Rock Slide. I do sneak in a Mudshot there, which is pretty big for me. I'm counting, and I know that my opponent is going to go straight Bone Club. I don't want to shield this matchup at all, so I'm going to build up extra right before they get to the second Bone Club, because if I do one shot with Earthquake, they'll end up with a lot of energy. I like to build up and throw my charge moves right before my opponent gets theirs, because they're more inclined to shield the more energy they have. Now here I don't really want to cough up a shield, but I am going to. I'm going to build up again. I try to fast move deny, but the Fire Spin comes through. Going to once again go for the Rock Slide. My opponent decides to no shield this one, and I go for the back-to-back to put some pressure on. And this time the Marowak decides to shield. Now at this point I know I can't reach the Rock Slide, so I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to come in with Pelipper and farm down. Now at this point in the back I'm thinking if it's Azu and Gfisk, pretty popular core if you don't see either one in the lead. I am counting here, and I know that this is just a Bone Club, so no reason to shield. And we'll get to see what's in the back. It's a Galvantula, and at this point I think that I'm in trouble. I get the Weather Ball off, and I'm going to swap into my Tropius. If I remember correctly, my opponent has a Swampert in the back. And they Panic Swap here into the Swampert. Yeah. and that's going to be a GG. The Tropius just farms down the Swampert there before he could even get a move off. I'm going to eat the lunge, and I'm just going to Leaf Blade for the win. Now, this team is very, very good when you win leads and save shields for Tropius in the back, because Pelipper is pretty much always going to draw out the hard counter for Tropius. Alright, we'll go ahead into our next match. We see Abomasnow here, so it is Shadow, so Abomasnow can win this matchup. I'm going to be looking to put some pressure on. The Abomasnow does hurt my 2 flyers in the back, so I want to do my best to get some damage on this Abomasnow. I like to throw on 6, which is right before they get to the Weather Ball, or the Energy Ball, and does force them into a shield. The Abomasnow can win this going straight Weather Ball, so there's really no reason for the opponent to throw Energy Ball. And I see that my switch right here, actually, if we go back just a hair, you can see that right here. When your switch buttons light up, this means 9 times out of 10 that your opponent is switching out. So it was kind of a weird move that they would swap during that. So I saw the water ghost coming out. I recognize it's Jellicent. I'm going to go into my Tropius because it has a better matchup. And here I really don't want to be Ice Beamed, so I'm going to throw up the shield. It is Ice Beam. So at this point, with Abomasnow in the lead and Jellicent Safe Swap, I'm thinking that the team is an Azumarill in the back, because this is a popular team that Wallower and Though Tactical put out, are also really great content creators on Twitch and YouTube. So I know that they're going to come back in Abomasnow, and my opponent decides not to farm up any extra energy, which puts me in a really good spot. And I'm gonna bring back in my G-Fisk. Gonna wait out the timer. My opponent makes a really nice swap into their Pelipper, catching the Rock Slide. But this is gonna put on a lot of damage to the Pelipper, and here I'm gonna farm up some extra. I'm gonna try and catch the Weather Ball. You can see me press. So my counting was 1 off, and I must have missed one on the swap in. So here I'm gonna farm up extra again. So they're at 3. And I get the last shield. I'm gonna farm up again, and here I'm gonna catch the Weather Ball. My opponent could have done 2 more to force CMP if they wanted to. So here I know they're out of energy. Farm up a little extra right before they get to the Hurricane and throw the Weather Ball, which will knock out. If my opponent threw a Weather Ball, I would have been able to farm down and Hurricane the Abomasnow. But here, I actually thought the Abomasnow was way lower. Once again, they throw pretty quickly. If they had banked back to back or a little more energy, it would have been a lot closer, but they were just short of the Weather Ball. And because I over-farmed on the Pelipper and I caught, I was able to make sure that my G-Fisk had the maximum amount of energy before getting KO'd, and I just needed 1 more Mud Shot and a Rock Slide to KO. So kind of a tough lead and tough team comp for me to overcome in the back, but careful energy management and catching that charge move was what allowed me to win that game. Right, let's go ahead into the next one. I'm going to get paired with Faithless 1971. So another really great lead, Stunfisk into Altaria. We're going to swap right away into their Medicham, was a little slow on the swap. As soon as you see that fighting and psychic typing, you should know it's Medicham. And they farm up to the ice for the psychic. So this tells me that it's Pup Psychic. And here I'm going to go for the Aerialace. Probably could bait with the Leaf Blade, but they do shield, and here I'm put in a tough situation of whether or not they're going to go straight Psychic or Pup. So here I actually do call the Pup, because when you're up a shield, you need to overcome that energy somehow, and baiting is a great way to do that. However, I was just probably one step ahead of my opponent, and I was able to read that it was just a Pup. Now here again, I realize that they don't have enough energy for the Psychic. I can reach the Leaf Blade without shielding and go down. Now I was really expecting a second shield, which would have been fine. I would have been in a tougher situation, but my opponent decides not to go 2 shields down, which I also do not like doing. But here comes the Altaria again, and you can just see that I farm up a little more energy. There's no reason to swap right into the Stunfisk, especially being up a shield. I think that's a common mistake that some battlers make, is you think just because that your opponent switches that you need to switch right away, and a lot of the times you don't need to if you have such a dominating matchup like I do with G-Fisk versus Altaria. So I know that Machamp doesn't have a lot of energy, and I will lose CMP against Machamp, but banking some energy will help me in the long run. I also realize that our switch timers are misaligned, so I want to make sure that I'm throwing my charge move in the middle of when their timer is that they can swap, right? So because they're able to swap back in, they could potentially counter me down. And I want to throw here because this makes the gap so much larger for the Machamp to be able to come in. So here I just go for the rock slide because the Altaria is out of pretty much already dead. So I do just go into the Pelipper. They no shield the rock slide, which they can't really shield because I have the weather ball stacked, and I just go for the fast move beat down here. There's no reason to throw my charge moves as they do have a shield, and we get the quit. So just some careful energy management there, and hard winning the lead is taking me to these dominating wins. I believe that's 4-0. Yep. All right, so we'll go ahead into the final matchup here. I'm gonna get Brada Fred rocking the sweet Valor Charizard jacket. You get an amazing lead, so as you can see, really positive leads. And they swap in Mew. And I let them get a little bit of an energy advantage because previously in another set, it was a Psychic type and it was a Hypno, and I blind swapped into my Tropius and I ended up losing that matchup. So if the Hypno swaps in, you do need to chip it with Stunfisk first before swapping into the Tropius. Now, most Mew are running Wild Charge Surf. They could also be running Wild Charge Flame Charge. Now, because they Wild Charge, that tells me they're running Surf. Now here I know they have enough energy for Wild Charge, so I'm going to shield this up and then farm down. I'm trying to think what could potentially be in the back. Bastiodon being such a good anti-flyer, Mew being a safe swap. I'm thinking that they might have their own flyer in the back or some kind of fighter. So I'm just going to chip the Basti with this Leaf Blade. My opponent farms me down. They're a little short of the Flamethrower. I'm gonna go back into my G-Fisk. I actually don't need to shield the first. So they do have a flyer or a fighter, which is their anti-tank. So I recognize that this is just going to be a Leaf Blade, or it could be Night Slash. Can't be a Brave Bird, so I don't need to shield the first one. And I'm gonna farm up some extra, put some pressure on the Surfetch to shield, so that my Stunfisk has a little better matchup. They decide to shield, so I'm going to farm up to the Weather Ball. And I'm actually just going to let this go, and then Rock Slide, because I should be one away. They do get the attack boost, but I can just Rock Slide from here. And the Bastiodon comes back in, and I think we get another quit here. So a few quits, a lot of good leads, a lot of good energy management. So yeah, really awesome battles. This does take me to just before rank 13, so I hope you enjoy those battles. That sack swap, the energy management, I highly recommend this team. I have a few students that are rocking this team in the beginning of the season and are having some great success with it. So if you're looking for a really good team, you should definitely use it. And I do want to give a quick shout out to the person that created this team, who I received it from. Their name is Pung Kiergin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but really awesome battler, comes up with a lot of great lines, was kind enough to share this team with me last season where I had a great run. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Enjoy those battles and hope to see you on Twitch. All right, take it easy everyone. Peace.